So I would buy the shoes for 100, probably sell them for like 105 just to make my money back so I could make the videos themselves for free, because all I cared about was getting more attention, like getting more followers, getting more views, even though I wasn't making any money off the videos, like at all.
This is going to be episode 20 of the Nicola podcast, which is pretty cool. We've never started off saying the episode, like welcome to episode 20, but let's do it now. And we have Jake with us today.
Thank you guys for having me.
Not your first rodeo. You've been on a podcast before.
No, I've been on not a bunch, but
a couple.
a handful.
You've been around the block. Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
We got a familiar face too. Dre, welcome back. Thank you for coming on again.
Great to have you back. He mentioned our Christmas tree is in full effect, which is kind of cool.
It looks like mine. Back at home, it looks like it's a little. It looks like it's dying.
It's pretty pathetic.
Mine back home didn't drink like any water. I kept filling it and it didn't drink.
In Florida?
Yeah, down in Florida. It
How do you
didn't
get a
drink
Christmas tree in
bit.
Florida? Like, what's the process?
Same way you get one here.
Yeah, but like,
What'd you pay for your Christmas tree down there?
It was a 9-foot tree and it cost $140.
Oh my god, dude! Guess what we paid for that tree right there? It's a
That looks like what, 5 feet, 6 feet?
So technically it's 6 feet, but we argued with the guy there. It's got that big
That's-
stick at
yeah.
the top. That it was 5, and he agreed. But guess what we paid for that thing,
75.
dude?
we
Fucking 250.
we bought it in
No
Seaport.
way. $250 for that?
So we
Where?
got it down at Snowport. So gentrified ass Christmas
So
tree.
the
Holy
tree
shit.
itself was like a 150. The stand, the plastic stand, $50, and then the lights and other shit. It was ridiculous.
Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
fucking
That's
crazy.
ridiculous though. $200 for a tree like that. For any tree, in
Yeah.
fact. Like,
We got
It's been good for the vibes though.
it
it is. I mean, yeah, but jeez. I thought Florida was bad.
Yeah. So how long you lived in Florida for?
I've only been there for a year.
Okay.
A year and like 3-4 months. And I love it. It's like, it's a way ahead of Boston in so many different ways for me. But it's just a good time. I don't know.
What was the initial reason for moving down?
I was telling him a few minutes ago, there's like a few different reasons. So we started Kizzo, Zuki and I, back in May of, what was that, 21? 21. So May of 21, we started it. He was living in Tennessee. I was living in Boston. And we were trying to run a sneaker company from, 2 different states. And we did, I think, 3 or 4 releases. And once we saw that it was doing well, we were like, all right, we need to figure out a place where we can like convene at the, be in the same place at the same time, because it's just too difficult doing it from different states. So it was between New York, LA, and Florida. Well, Miami. And New York is the same as Boston in terms of like weather and price of everything. LA, same thing, super expensive. LA is overrated as fuck. Like, I hate LA. I want to stay there for like a week and then I'm done. Like, that's about it. And then Florida is just, it's cheap. It's becoming like, it's like the up and coming place right now. Like, Miami area is like, I've heard people say, I think it might have been Dana White said it's like the new, what LA used to be. And I kind of agree with that. It's like growing so fast. So yeah, it basically just came down to Boston sucks. We need to be in the same place, and the other places are just trash. So that's why we ended on Florida.
We were in Miami for Art Basel recently. We did a couple podcasts on there with like people that weren't from that area, whether they were from, up here, Boston, or from Ben Bader, he's from Cincinnati, and everyone said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Comparing it to LA, whether they'd been there, lived there before, Miami's like where it's all happening. So
Yeah, Miami is-
South Florida just in general. Like,
South
anyway.
Florida is, I live in West Palm,
Yeah.
which is an hour north of Miami, which is perfect because
Yeah.
I hate Miami itself because it's just, it's the same as here, like traffic wise. Can't get anywhere without being in an hour of traffic. But West Palm, there's no traffic. The weather's amazing. It's not that expensive. Like, I'm paying the same for that a 5-bedroom house in a gated community that I would be here for like a 2-bedroom. Not even. So I love it. It was a no-brainer, really. So, and I'm not going to come back.
So you started Kizzo like 2.5 years ago.
Yep.
But what were you doing before you kind of started this company?
So I did tell you about the complex thing a little bit too, but I've done social media since 2019. So like, I started in 2019 and I didn't really take it. I wasn't making any money off of it for a long time. Like, I was just doing it to have fun, and I was using the stimulus checks to fund that. So without the stimulus checks, I wouldn't have had any money to like do all my projects and the bullshit that I was doing. And then Complex rolled around after I gained a little bit of traction on social media, and I started doing that podcast that I told you about for like 2 years, and that's where I was getting my money after the stimulus checks ran out. So up until Kizzo, that show actually ended a year ago, so Kizzo and that overlapped a little bit. But before Kizzo, I was just doing social media and I don't even know if you'd call it a podcast, but it was a Twitch stream. So I would do that, and that was really all I had going. I had no plan. Luckily, everything just kind of like happened at the right time, and it worked out so far.
Was there anything when you were growing up? Was there anything like that kind of gave you the idea to get into it, or like anything creative that you would do, like
Social
as a passion,
media?
or just like creativity? Because for you, you're obviously a social media creator, but your whole video concepts, everything stems around being creative and hands-on and artistic.
Yeah.
Were you always like that?
I don't honestly know. I was thinking about it before I came over here. Like, if you talk to me in high school or middle school or whatever, I didn't do art. I didn't like create anything. I would wear like gray sweatpants and a black t-shirt every day. I was like the least creative person you could ever meet. And then I don't know exactly what happened.
It was during quarantine when you started One Off.
That I think that's where it stemmed from. Is I'm just a business person, so like I love to do business shit. So I started in quarantine a little hoodie brand called One Off. That's how I met Andres, actually. We knew each other before that, but that's how we got close. It was a shitty hoodie brand, and I was making the hoodies myself, and I was doing custom sneakers at the same time. So that's how I was making money. And I don't even remember, like, because I still suck at like painting and shit. So I don't know why I thought I'd be able to do like custom sneakers, but I did it. I started it, and one thing led to another, and I just started doing like DIY creative shit. But like I said, if you talked to me years before that, never would I ever have thought that I'd be doing shit like this, like, or these hoodies, whatever. But
Have you
it's funny the way things work.
Have you been customizing sneakers that entire time for the last 4 years, or has there been times where it's been more of a focus for you?
Yeah, I've bounced around a lot. Like, as far as my niche goes, it started out with
Steak.
Yeah, that's how it actually happened, and a few different other things. So the first video I ever posted on TikTok was like a basketball skit. Like, me and my friend messing around in the gym. We were like doing a play on like the typical stereotypes you'd see in basketball players. And that got traction. That was the first video I ever posted. It got like 100,000 views. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I started making more videos, a bunch of shit videos in a row. And then like I got a 2 million view video where I put a steak in pineapple. And people thought it was disgusting, but it's actually like the best thing in the world. And then after that, it was like another skit did well. And then another thing did well. And then the t-shirt video, I did a t-shirt video. That's actually the thing that set like the DIY path off. Because it got like 6 million views. It was on like Daquan and all those other like big
Daquan,
meme,
oh
big
my
meme
God.
pages. Yeah,
I haven't
Daquan.
heard that in
That's
forever.
crazy.
That was like,
I remember Angel. He texted me that night. He's like, "You're on Daquan." I was like, "That's like at the time Daquan was like huge."
Was it like 2018 or like
It was
before that?
like right at the end of
like
2019.
yeah.
Okay.
Like Christmas
All right.
2019.
Yeah, that was
around
that was the Quan time. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was on the tail
Yeah,
end of it,
no,
but it
it's-
was still like it was huge. And all the other ones too. Like, I can't think of all the other ones. That's the one that stuck, but it was everywhere. And then I got like a manager from that, or an agent, whichever one you want to call it. And she was the one that told me like, all right, now your niche is like DIY stuff, like do DIY shit. So I started like customizing t-shirts, and I started customizing shoes, and
Just
just
the stop signs too.
the stop sign, that was a big thing for a long time. But just anything I could get my hands on to like do that was fun, I would do that. And then that all died down. I was stuck at 850,000 followers. I remember that. I plateaued. I couldn't get past that for the longest time. And then I did a sneaker video, and that sneaker video did well, really well. And from then on, it was just always sneakers. And then since then, I've actually, in the past year, because of that shit that happened with Kizzo, I had to branch out a little bit because I didn't have sneakers to customize. So I had to do, the car shit that I've been doing, and everything else in between. So yeah, it bounced around a lot, but it's always kind of been focused around do it yourself. Like, that's really the overarching niche.
was the sneaker video that blew up? Was that one of the dips that you did? Or-
Yeah, it was the first time I ever dyed a sneaker. It was my friend David's sneakers. He had these old, like, beat up Air Forces that were just like, they looked shitty. And the whole idea of the video was like, save your old Air Forces, because beat up Air Forces look like shit no matter
Right.
who's wearing them. So I dipped them in some green dye, and people just hated them. Like every single comment on that video was like basically telling me to fuck myself. Like that they suck. But you know, without that, I wouldn't have done anything. You know, so I'm glad. I love like pissing people off on purpose, and they don't. And my favorite part is they don't even know that I'm doing it. Like I'll do it on purpose at this point to get a reaction out of people, and they give me exactly what I want, and it's like perfect. But yeah, that was the first time I ever dipped a sneaker.
Like obviously, like what you were doing with Kizzo and your personal brand, and like the shoes with Kizzo, and then dipping the shoes on your Jake Polino page, was like Nike pissed that you were dipping your shoes like in coffee and in different dyes while you were getting.
I remember they like they like banned your Nike account because you kept ordering a bunch of Air
Yeah,
Forces.
I got banned from their store because I would buy like 10 pairs of Air Forces a month. Like,
Yeah.
And then I would customize one out of the pair. So like the best bang for the buck that I had was before I had any money, I would like go and buy used Air Forces off of people in like Facebook groups for like $30, and I customize one way, customize another way. So I get 2 videos out of $30. And then it got into the point where I was making.
Oh, you just do half the.
I would
just
do
one of the
shoe
shoes.
one way, one shoe the other
Okay.
way, and then I get 2 videos out of it. And once I was able to like make a little bit more money and I could buy like new shoes, I would buy new ones and then like sell them afterwards. So I would buy the shoes for 100, probably sell them for like 105 just to make my money back, so I could make the videos themselves for free. Because all I cared about was getting more attention, like getting more followers, getting more views. Even though I wasn't making any money off of videos, like at all. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But they never sent me any like, they were never mad about it. I did know people in the customizing space that did receive stuff from them, like basically saying don't customize our shoes, which never made sense to me. But they never said anything to me, thankfully.
When did you realize, from starting like social media, that A, it was like really cool and you enjoyed it, you wanted to take it seriously, and then B, you wanted to take it to the point of being your career and your main focus?
Yeah, so I started taking it seriously once that steak video hit. Like once that got, I think it was 2 million views, something like that, 1.9, something around there. I was like, all right, this is like a legit thing. Like I was getting a lot of followers from it. I was building steam real quick, and I knew that was an opportunity that I shouldn't let pass up because of where social media has been in the past, decade. And plus I always wanted to be an influencer. So I was like, this is my chance. So I went with it. But I was working at Foot Locker at the time. I was still in college. And the thing that made me make it my career is when I made my first like $10,000 in a month. Like that was my deal with my mom, is I can't drop out of college until I make $10,000 a month. And then once I hit that, I dropped out immediately. But like I was already tapped out before that. Like I was failing a bunch of classes like and shit like that because I just didn't care, and I knew that it was coming. So
do you want to break that down? Like what were the streams of income? Like kind of like in ways you diversified?
There were a lot. So there were, I think, 2 sponsorships that were involved, and then like revenue from YouTube and TikTok, and then the Complex show. So like I think there was 4 or 5 different streams of income that led to the 10,000, and that wasn't every month. It was like just a one-time thing at that time, where I got the 10,000, and then next month it was like 5 or 6 or something like that, which is still a really good amount I was 21 at the time. So I was really happy with it, and my mom couldn't argue anymore because I met the deal. So
How's that conversation go with your mom? She kind of encourages you to go to school, and then like 10 years ago, the career on social media didn't really exist.
Yeah.
How do you sit her down and like make her okay with your decision?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that was the whole point of the deal, because like once I could prove that it was a legitimate thing that made money, that's where it was like, okay, because before that, nobody in that generation would believe that making videos online was lucrative at all. But once I was able to give her like physical proof and like show that to her, she was like, okay, like, do it. So I had 1 semester of college left, and I didn't go back.
So you were close.
I was really close, yeah.
Where did you go?
I started off at UMass Lowell. I did that for a year. I lived there. I was a biomedical engineer. And then I went to Salem State for 2 years after that, and I was just entrepreneurship major. So real simple stuff, but
Have you applied like anything from college to like this?
No. It's complete bullshit. Like if you're not going for like being a lawyer or nurse, something that requires like an actual degree, then what are you there for? Like if you're in there for business, go start your own business. You're gonna learn a lot more that way. Or even sneakers, like just being in the sneaker industry. I've been a sneakerhead since I was 12. I learned everything that I know about business through sneakers, like supply and demand and the importance of scarcity, like limiting your product. So I learned everything, like actually trying it and practicing rather than just sitting in a classroom.
Yeah, talk about that. Like the sneaker industry is like, I feel like any of those entry level hustles, like sneakers or sports cars or like all these different things, are such like a good intro to business. And like a lot of kids will start out with that and then, you know, turn that into some, you know, start flipping sneakers, sports cars, whatever. Then learn how to hustle, how to sell, how to manage inventory of business, and then grow something beyond that. Like, was there anything you learned from that, or just any observations on that, like that you have?
No, I mean, just like I said, it's like anything that when you get into that where there's buying and selling and reselling, like that's where you're gonna learn everything. So, you know, cars is also a good example. You can buy shit on Facebook Marketplace and flip it, make a profit off of it, and you also learn like what makes a car have a resale value in the first place and whatnot. Like, there's so many different things that you can learn business from, and it doesn't have to be just sneakers. Sneakers is easy because one, it's cheap, and two, it's like it's so black and white. Like everything about it is literally just business. Like shoes that are limited sell for more, and that's as simple as it is. So it doesn't matter how they look. It's just if they're limited, they sell, and you'll learn that people like buy and sell, and shoes can go up over time like stocks. So there's so much that you can learn from just having a hobby. And that's why every time I talk to somebody younger, I'm like, just find something that you like and just do it. Like any hobby that you can think of, just do it. Like whatever you enjoy doing, there's a way to make money off of it. And that's what you should do. So
what were the steps then for you, you know, somebody who just kind of started off doing things you enjoyed, you always, you know, sneakers, business, social media. How did you turn that from a hobby into a career? Like how did you start monetizing it specifically?
Well, it started with TikTok. I mean, before that, I was doing the customizing, which didn't make a shit ton of money. Like I would spend 8 hours on a shoe to make $50. So customizing is good, but it's not scalable. You know, like you can only make so many shoes in a day. You can't make that much off of it. But once I was able to figure out that I could monetize videos and like get sponsorships from videos, and then the final step was Kizzo, because like, you know, I was making $1,500 on a sponsorship every once in a while, like maybe 3 or 4 sponsorships a year. I barely got any. I was like, you know, I have 2 million followers and I'm getting all these views on my videos and I'm making nothing from it. I was like, what do I do? And that's where Kizzo came into play, because like I was like, why am I making all these videos for Nike? Literally, I calculated it, hundreds of millions of views for Nike for free. Never got a thank you from them. Quite the opposite. But it was just ridiculous to deal with that and then not make any money. I was like, I thought, and so many people still think that today. They look at me and they're like, oh, you must be fucking rich, like, and that's not the case. Like, I'm good enough, but I'm not like loaded. And they think every influencer is just like, you know, filled to the brims with money.
What did that like initial conversation look like with like your business partner, and also just like yourself? You know, once you realized that, going into like, okay, I need to build something, and did it come to you, the idea, like immediately, or did it take time?
It did. I mean, it came to me immediately. The actual like putting it into practice took a while, like figuring out what our silhouette was going to be, what colors we're going to do, like thinking all that. But we knew we wanted to create our own sneaker so that we could sell that, and we didn't like strategize or anything like that. We didn't say like, oh, we're going to do this business model and this and that, blah, blah, blah. We just kind of said, we're going to make a shoe. We're going to like hype it up online, make it limited, and see how many people buy it. And it did so well off the jump, which surprised both of us. And that's kind of how everything just catapulted. Like as soon as we saw that it did that well, we were like, all right, like this is our life now. Like we made the decision like that day to move into Florida, and just like go with this for good, because it worked so well right off the bat. But you know, it's not guaranteed, and it never will be. And that's the scariest part about it.
What are the important steps when creators are like leveraging their personal brands to like build an actual brand?
Yeah.
Like, what's important things to take into account?
I don't know, really. I mean, the biggest thing is getting the following. Like if you can build a following, you can sell anything. It doesn't matter what it is. So I like my brother. I was talking to him yesterday about like what he wants to do for the rest of his life. He's like, I don't know what I want to do with. He likes photography and music and stuff like that. And I told him, like, you know, just start doing what you like and figure out what you don't like and start doing it just as a hobby, and then eventually it might pay off. But people that want to be influencers or sell something, the biggest key is social media. Like if you have a personal brand, you could sell anything, like I said. So I mean, that's the first step, is just getting followers. That's the most important part.
Are there any other influencers that, like, obviously you have a very specific niche where you just kind of customize sneakers.
Yep.
But are there any other influencers where you draw inspiration through them, like where they've leveraged their personal brand to grow something bigger?
That's a good question.
Because like a name that comes to mind is, like, do you know who Lucas Pachter is?
No.
No.
I don't.
Okay. He's on TikTok, and he does a lot of, like, you know, just he does a lot
Squid
of
House. He's got the
Squid House.
shorts. You ever seen them?
I feel like that
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
It's like an all over print. On, like,
yeah, that sounds familiar.
shorts.
But he's,
No, I've never heard of him. But the only person that comes to mind is this guy. He sells the Brake Bomber stuff. I don't know if you've seen that. It's like a car community thing. It's like a wheel cleaner, and he's like 20 something, and he has like all these cars, and he also lives in Florida, and it's just from selling that, and that's because he had, you know, a car following, and then he's like, all right, what does my audience want? And then he created Brake Bomber and started selling it, and it did really well, and that's how he made himself well off. But
what about that guy? He's like, I totally forget the name, but he's like a famous shoe customizer.
Marco?
No,
Or is that-
well, I know who that is. Do you know him at all, or you know, like?
Fuck that dude.
Yeah,
what about Picasso?
Picasso. He's the guy with
yeah.
the Odell's cleats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
So, like I said, I was a sneaker customizer before,
Yeah.
and I've always been into sneakers. And there's like the Mount Rushmore of like
Picasso's
sneaker customizers.
him.
He's definitely
He's
up
him.
there. He's one of the big ones. Then Mosh and JBF, like those are the big names. But I wouldn't count them as social media influencers.
No,
you know what I
they're
mean?
artists,
Like
right?
they're artists before influencers. I'm an influencer before an artist, if that makes sense.
I remember seeing like Odell's cleats, like that. That was
Yeah,
like,
they do them for everybody. Like I've seen some crazy shit. The people that I had on the Twitch stream were always doing shit like that. One of them, Coda, you've definitely
I've
seen.
seen-
this.
I've heard all
Coda.
these names, and I feel like
Coda Customs
Yeah, I've seen
is
Coda.
the best cleat maker in the game. Like, hands down, nobody makes cleats like Coda does. They're all just crazy, and he makes them like from scratch. Like, he doesn't just customize an existing pair of cleats; he makes a new pair of cleats. Like,
I saw Jalen Brown had just recently a pair of Kobe's
Yep.
that didn't have the logo on them.
Yep, I love that.
So,
I love that
so
shit.
dope.
just debadged Kobe.
And that's like subtle little things like that is like just like so cool.
He's like a sneaker free agent right now, so
Yep.
he's like currently shopping for a deal, and he just does stuff like that.
I know.
And plus, they don't necessarily. I know a lot of players don't necessarily like what Nike does sometimes, like philosophically, like Kyrie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that also has to do with it too, because Jalen's like a really smart, like, you know. Dude.
Well, he also like represents himself in a lot of deals and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I know he was with Donda for a while, which like
Mhm.
their sports whole thing kind of
Yeah.
fell apart. But no, he's cool. I think what about Marco? Like what's up with him?
I just don't like him. He's like super Hollywood kind of to
Really?
me. I don't know him well enough to really talk about that, but
Okay.
like I've talked to him a few times like on social media. We were like mutuals for a while, and he's like the type of person where he'll ask you for stuff, but anytime you ask him to like return some sort of favor, he won't do it. And he's stolen not only like ideas from me, probably 3 or 4 ideas without credit. Like, we were mutuals, and he was stealing my ideas without like giving me credit for it, like, which is weird, like especially if you're mutuals with someone. So I was like weirded out by that. And then anytime I asked him for any sort of like tips or whatever, because he was a bigger influencer than I was, and I was like asking him for advice, and he just like would leave it unopened. And then he would 2 days later message me, how do I coffee dye Vans? And I'm like, you do it this and that. I tell him all the steps. He does a video on it. Doesn't say anything about me. He did the rope laces, and he's stolen from other customizer friends of mine. Like, their literal design, like down to the T, just takes it and like doesn't credit them. And I'm like, that's just not the way to do it. The pendulum painting thing he did, that's my other buddy Cole's Color. He does the pendulum painting.
Those are sick.
They're
Those are
super
really
cool. And Cole is the nicest fucking dude in the world. I love that man. And Marco just like does a video on like pendulum paintings and same thing. Just like won't be like, I got the idea from this guy. Like he'll put a video up, but he won't say this is the guy that I got the idea from. Like it's just, it seems insincere and like, I don't know. I don't like that. So
Interesting.
In an industry where there's so many creatives, like where do you draw the line, or where do people draw the line from? Oh, like he's just copying me, and oh, he just drew inspiration from me.
yeah, I mean, there's a clear line between drawing inspiration and copying. Like if someone like these two hoodies that I made, they're bleached black hoodies. But there's not another one like them in the world. You know, you're not going to find a hoodie with bleach from the top down and nines all over it. You're not going to find one with, I mean, that one's a little bit simpler. You might find one like that, but when you copy somebody, it's like the exact thing, you know, like you copy every single thing, but then inspiration would be like, oh, I saw Jake do a bleach hoodie. I'm going to do my own version of it. So you have to change something. It's like copying homework. Like you got to change a little bit of it for it to be different. So that's drawing inspiration, and then copying is just, you know, blatantly stealing the same exact design and like redoing it.
And how often are guys kind of taking like blatantly copying from smaller creatives in the sneaker industry right now?
I don't know. I don't see it very often. No, it doesn't happen too often. You'll see trends like the rope laces, like that was a huge trend. It's still going on. The coffee thing, like those were two of the things that I started, and like I wouldn't say that people stole it from me. Like it was a trend, and like people saw it was a trend and did it. But yeah, I don't think there's necessarily like it always stays the same. It always just happens every once in a while. It's not like ramping up, you know.
If somebody does like a coffee dipped sneaker, do you expect them to say like inspo from Jake? Or
No. It's to the point where it's so far removed from me. Like
It's just a thing now.
yeah, Tom Brady and Nick Giovanni did it like 2 weeks ago, and Nick actually asked me like when he was doing that video, he's like, "Can you voice this part over for me?" But I didn't see it in time, so like,
He's a mask guy too, right?
Matt, yeah, I think he is a mask guy.
Are you
Yeah.
close with him?
No, I'm not
No.
too close. I'm mutuals, I think, or I don't know if I'm mutuals. I've talked to him a few times on DM. I don't know if he follows me back.
We've sent him a couple DMs. I want to get him on. But
Really?
Yeah.
He's a cool dude from what I've seen. I don't never actually like really talk to him, but just a few like DMs here and there. But yeah, I wouldn't say like they'd have to credit me. And I think copy dyeing was a thing before. Like I wasn't the first person to ever do it, but I was the first person to do it that way, if that makes sense. Like one of my friends, Bald Boy, he's a sneaker customizer. He like also did coffee shoes, but he would do just the soles in coffee and leave it for like an hour or whatever. And I was the first one to dip like a whole Air Force in it and leave it and get that color out of it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't like the first. It's weird. It's but no, I don't expect it.
How many substances do you think you've dipped shoes in at this point?
Good question. Anything you can think of, pretty much. Like any liquid that's a household item and would be interesting to dip in, I've done it. Like I'm not gonna do it in like.
What was like one of the like tomato sauce? Like that's
I've
probably
done that.
nasty though.
I've done that. Yeah, I did like a bunch of cans of ragu or whatever it was.
You did Henny.
Do you like,
You did Henny.
I did Henny.
Henny
Yeah,
shoes.
that video was faked. A few of the videos were faked. But
Really?
yeah, because I had like 8 bottles of Henny.
Oh,
I wasn't
yeah,
about to spend
yeah,
$700 on a Hennessy. And that was a Kizzo video, so I just really wanted it to get views. I didn't care
Yeah,
about
okay.
if people thought it was real or not. And most of those videos, like those older ones, like the Kool-Aid video that I did, like all those videos were just like bullshit. Like I would put dye in there to like help it out. But that's like the whole point of social media, you know, like just doing fun shit that people catching, like it catches eyes.
That's also very harmless in terms of like the
Yeah.
fake social media thing.
Yeah.
Like
Because you're right. That's actually very important. Because like, if somebody goes and like tries to dye their sneakers with Kool-Aid, put purple dye in it instead. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna ruin somebody's life. Where people like, I can't give it a good example, but like medical advice, people that are like, oh, this is gonna save your life from this, and that, and they're selling like supplements, and it's bullshit. Like that is harmful.
well,
It
even
could
on
be.
like even on the entertainment scale where it's like there's like so many pranksters that have come out recently to say like, oh, back in 2017 my videos were fake, where like they're literally paying actors. All you did was like dump a little bit extra like dye
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
like water in to
Yeah.
like to make it like
just the color of
yeah,
the shoe was a little darker.
you're just like cutting a couple corners. Like it's not a big
Yeah.
Have you had any like angry moms reach out to you and be like, my kid fucking dyed his shoes?
I've had
coffee
not angry moms, but I've had people reach out and they're like, the Kool-Aid didn't work, and I'm like, you're fucking stupid. But yeah, it's never like it's not gonna hurt anybody. You know what I mean? So it's harmless. It's just for views.
What do you do with most of the shoes after customizing or dyeing if they're not for sale?
If I don't sell them, then I just keep them. You know, I'll just put them on a shelf somewhere or throw them under whatever. But usually I don't sell them anymore because I do what I used to do where I make 2 videos out of one pair. So who wants a pair that one of them is destroyed and one of them is red and blue, you know? But back in the day when I used to make the pair, I would just sell the pair for what I bought them for, make my money back, and that way I was making the videos for free. But yeah, most of the time I'll just keep them.
So you have a very large collection at this point?
Yeah. Not all like shoes that I would like to wear. You know what I mean? Like my personal collection of shoes that I collect is different than the shoes of just like shit that I have sitting around. Like the house back in Florida has easily 200 pairs of shoes, like between me and my roommates, and all the Kizzos that I've.
You have inventory there too, right?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Because we got rid of all that. Yeah. That's gone. But just all the projects I've done, all the videos, I have every single pair of those, and they're just sitting on shelves. But yeah, it's fun.
All time, what are some of your favorite shoes?
I hate to say it because it's them, but it's this Nike pair that I left in bleach for like. Well, first I dyed it, then I painted over it, and then I put them in bleach, and they just distressed in like such a unique and like beautiful way, I guess. And I have those hanging up on my wall, and they're literally, there's holes in them, and it's my favorite custom I've ever done because I've never seen any pair like it, and nobody's done it since.
And you probably couldn't replicate it.
Never, like, because that's what I love about like dye and bleach and shit like that is, it's doing the work. You know what I mean? Like someone could replicate painting on a shoe, like a logo, whatever. If you dye a shoe and you do something with bleach or whatever, like it's never gonna come out the same way as that first pair did, and that's kind of why I like it so much because it's always gonna be different than everybody else's. So it's kind of cool.
What about shoes like in the store that you buy online, whatever, not customized? Like favorite shoes like of all time?
Ooh. I really like the 2003 UNC Nike Foamposites. I have a pair of those sitting in my closet that will never be worn again. Just, you know, sitting for value and like the collector in me. I love those Raptor 7s. That's like one of the shoes that like put me into sneakers. Yeah, I think those might be like my top ones. I could probably think of better ones if I really thought about it, but I love those. I love the color on the UNC Foamposites. It's my favorite color. So.
How come Nike hasn't come out with like a prolific shoe in recent years? You know, like back they had the Jordans back in the day. There was some sick Kobe's, there was some sick LeBrons, but recently there hasn't been anything notable.
I've never thought about that. That's actually a really good point. They just reuse everything. Like they haven't been able to create a shoe that's new that people like in I don't even know how many years. Like they just keep reusing things and unvaulting shit. Like the Cactus Mac, whatever, like the Mac Attack thing that they're doing right now is like an old tennis shoe from like the 90s, and they just like bring the shit back, like make something new, you know what I mean? And they're just re-releasing old Jordan colorways and
adding the Nike Air on the back of it.
They're even doing small changes.
They're even doing retro Kobe's at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah, which I think is fun. Yeah. But I don't know.
I feel like there's also like so many fashion brands now that are into sneakers too that cause more of an issue for Nike.
Very true.
I mean, they're so big they don't, like, you know, it works for them. They're making money off of it. Why would they change it? You know, that's my idea behind it. But at the same time, like the creative in me is like, how do you not want to like push yourself and like create something new? It's weird, but that is a good point. I never really even thought of that. Like they're just literally reusing old shit, and they have been for decades.
They need a new Tinker Hatfield.
Tinker Hatfield's like,
they need a new one, yeah.
Yeah, they need him, but they need Michael Jordan is the more important thing. Yeah. Tinker Hatfield's shoes, who knows if they'd still look cool if Michael Jordan never wore them, you know? That's one of the things that I've learned is like it doesn't matter what a shoe or what something looks like. If you get the right person to wear it and get people to believe it's cool, it's cool automatically. Kanye's the perfect example, wearing like ripped clothes that looks like they're from a homeless person. Like years ago, if you put that on someone else, wouldn't have been cool. But since it was Kanye, and like he's like the trend starter of the world, you know what I mean? Like
For sure.
every trend that he's started has been like huge. So yeah, it doesn't matter what something looks like as long as you get the right person to wear it, build hype behind it. It'll do well.
How do you go about building like a boutique sneaker brand in a space that's dominated by, you know, these billion-dollar companies?
That's the good thing about sneakers is it doesn't matter who's the biggest, because how many pairs of sneakers do you have? Like at least a couple.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody really. If you have one pair of sneakers, then like, you know, some people do that, but most people have multiple pairs. So it doesn't matter if they're buying Nikes or buying Adidas or buying Reebok. They can still buy a pair of Kizos, because if they like the shoe and they like the story behind it, they're gonna buy it. You know. So it's not like it's much different from like a car. Like I can't even begin to think about how somebody creates a new car brand. You know what I mean? Like or cell phone, something like that. Like that is impossible. But sneakers, you could have multiple sneakers, and it's easier to manufacture and design. So, you know.
Well, I feel like too, like part of the reason people wear shoes is to show off their shoes, right?
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
if you're wearing something that's unique, like
Yep.
some people don't like that, but I think some people do.
Most people do like
Yeah.
that. Most people want to be a little different. Nobody wants to wear the same exact thing as everybody else, unless it's just like a classic. Like you have Air Forces and shit like that is like the most wide worn shoe. He's wearing them over there. But it's just a classic, and it's always going to be worn, even though everybody has it. But some shoes are just cool because they're different. You know what I mean? So yeah, everybody likes to stand out and be a little different and have the shoe that nobody else has, and kind of put people onto shit. It's like finding a musician before he's like big. You know, like oh, I knew him first.
Totally. On that, like, how do you combine like what people like and what's like vetted out there design wise with like adding your own touch and adding your own creativity?
That's actually a good point, because we've been dealing with that a lot lately. Like we have 2 new Kizzo silhouettes. One is in production right now, like sample wise. We're still like tweaking it and making it. We hope to have it by the end of this year. And then one of them we announced like a month or 2 ago, and the first release is going to be in January. And that shoe is unlike any other shoe in the world. Like it's way out there. It's super like standoutish. Like it's very unique. And a lot of people didn't like it because it was so standoutish. But we just basically said, fuck you at that point. Like we're making what we want to make. Like it, don't like it, whatever, who buys it, doesn't matter to us because we like it. And then there's the shoe that we know everybody's going to like, something simpler, something more casual, everyday wear. So with a sneaker brand, it's good because you can have multiple silhouettes. But if we were to only have one, like say we could only have one for some reason, we would have to go with what the customer wants, because that's the most important thing. Like we wouldn't be able to put our own design touches on it, because it's more important to sell, obviously, than create something that you're proud of. But yeah,
the thing that's really good about Kizzo too is that since we're smaller, like you get a more intimate relationship with the people that are buying. So like we get to pretty much just show everybody the silhouette before we even have anything in hand, and Jake will just dump the silhouette in the Discord server, and then
Andre started the Discord server.
I made the Discord server. but
yeah,
he'll like dump it in the Discord server, and if people like it, they'll say it. If not, then not, and that'll be before he even has a physical.
Yeah,
feedback from
they're
from
ruthless,
customers,
and that's what I love. Like I'm so glad that we don't just have a bunch of yes men. Like so glad, like anything Kizzo puts out, they like. Like if they don't like it, they'll tell us. So yeah, the Discord is a good point, because like I get to talk to people in there, and like we answer DMs and emails and shit like that. But it is getting to the point where it's like too big, and we're gonna have to, stop responding to every single one or hire more people to. Right now, there's 3 of us that answer DMs. Mainly David. David is one of our roommates, and he answers the DMs and the emails for us. But yeah, most of the time it's good to have that relationship. Like it's never really a bad thing to have that relationship with people.
What's it been like for you, Dre, working together, and like your relationship too? Like how did you guys, obviously you've told us kind of off camera, but you guys meeting each other and like working together through the past couple of years?
So like me and Jake met in high school, and then we were never really close because I didn't go to Winthrop, and I didn't play basketball either. Jake played basketball. But during quarantine, when he started the One Off brand, he needed a photographer. He wasn't trying to pay anybody, but I convinced him to pay me for a shoot, and then we kind of just bonded off that shoot. And it's kind of stupid to put it like that, but that's literally how it went. Like, we became close off that one shoot, and then we were friends ever since.
So the way it happened, like he said, we were friends in high school. Like, we would hang out, but we wouldn't be like it was a big group, so like we weren't close. And then the photo shoot happened, and I think we were both going through the breakup at that time.
Yeah, we were both
going through a breakup, so we were just talking about that, and like I was trying to start my brand, and he was trying to start his photography more seriously. So we kind of just started hanging out after that, and like he was doing more photography and I was doing more clothing, and like also the influencing started around the same time. So it just ended up working out like perfect complementary thing. Like, he was the good camera guy that I needed, and I was like basically practice, because like he was still learning his ropes and developing his style. If you look back at his like first pictures compared to like the shit he does now, such a big difference. Like, I'm so like proud of the style that he's found, and like just the way his pictures look now versus how they looked during the first hoodie shoot.
That first shoot we had wasn't terrible, though. The first shoot we had wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible. It's just like 800 other people could have taken that picture. You know what I mean? Like, there was no style to it.
I had like I think it was a 6D Mark II, and I had like an $80 China lens on it, like that I found on Amazon. And we made it work with that. But like, this was also during quarantine. Like, we became friends right when quarantine started.
Yep.
So all of the stuff that we would do creatively, like, we were walking through Boston. Nobody was in Boston, so we'd be able to take pictures in the empty streets of Boston.
Yep.
Or like, we would go to he was trying to like take YouTube more seriously before, because he was in a place where he was trying to figure out if he wanted to do TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram. And we would make YouTube videos where we'd like go explore abandoned places, and like
that was fun.
We weren't gonna get trespassed because no cops were working, so we kind of took advantage of quarantine as best as we could too.
Yeah. And so like your relationship has always kind of been building off each other creatively and like helping each other build each other's brand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's really cool.
That's why it complemented so well, and like everything it was perfect.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're just like good friends on top of that, so it worked out well.
For anyone listening, like, would you have any advice to someone who, maybe is in Dre's, shoes a couple of years ago, or yours, that like is in a similar place with someone else that, they want to grow their brands respectively in creative spaces?
I was just talking to my brother about this last night, actually, because he's a junior in college and he's trying to figure out what he wants to do. And I told him photography is one of those tough industries to be in. It's like one of those starving artist industries, because you have to do a lot of free work for a lot of different people before you can build up a real clientele and like be able to sell yourself. You know what I mean? So same thing with like shoes. You have to sell shoes for $50 over what you paid, work for 8 hours for $50 to like build up not only practice, but like that clientele, and like show people that you're good at what you do. And then people will start paying you. But the main advice is just get out there and fucking do it. Like, just go do shit, do whatever you enjoy, which is so cliche to say, but like, if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it at that point? And do it for free, do it just for fun, and just see where it goes. And then also a key thing that most people don't mention is understand when it's not working. Like, if something's not working out, just drop it. Like, go to the next thing, try different shit. Like the hoodie brand that I had with him, I didn't see it going anywhere. So I was like, all right. And then I never did it again. And now obviously we have different hoodies, but this is completely different.
And before Kizzo even came around, like, Jake had like 2-3 other brands that he was going to start up.
Yeah. I was doing a bunch of different things, but it's really important to understand when something's not working and to try something else. Because one of the things people always say is like, just keep grinding, keep grinding. Understand when it's not working though, because some things just don't pan out the way you want them to, and it's just a waste of your time. So yeah, that's the key thing. Go out, do it, and understand when it's not working as well.
Besides timing, was there anything about those, the hoodie brand or the other projects that you kind of realized looking back wasn't, or even in the moment you realized wasn't working?
What did I do? I don't know.
You stopped, like, when you plateaued, that's when you were like that's when you decided to do sneakers because
Yeah.
you're more of like the DIY guy. You would do like the signs, the clothes.
Yeah, I would steal stop signs and shit and paint on those, and that was my thing for a while. But I didn't have any other brands, I don't think, like that I can remember.
J Polo Customs.
That was the sneaker customs. I dropped
September
that too.
the 3rd.
So like that that hasn't happened yet. That might still happen. We don't know. But yeah, the hoodie brand and the custom sneakers were really the only thing that like I dropped because I just saw better doors. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. What's next for Kizzo?
that's tough to say. We're at such a weird transition period right now where we have the new shoe coming out. We don't know how that's going to sell. We don't know if people are going to like it. We're doing hoodies, we're doing rings, we're doing pants, everything else in between. So we really don't know where it's going to go. I'd like to say ideally we want to have, a warehouse next. We want to have stuff in stock constantly, like in addition to the limited drops. And we also want to, just build our brand as much as we can, get brick and mortar eventually, and one up our sales from last year. But other than that, I mean, it's just at this point, just how far can we go? That's the mission.
What about you personally?
Kizzo is my main focus right now. So, I'm doing the social media as well. Those are kind of neck and neck. Kizzo's always slightly ahead of that. But I want to keep my own personal brand there. Like I want to, build my following as much as I can. And I want to build Kizzo at the same time as much as I can. So, yeah, I mean, luckily they complement each other really well. So I don't have to like divide my attention much. But yeah, it's mainly just see how far I can get,
Are there any brands that you look at that grew in a similar way to Kizzo that,
Yep.
You obviously drawing inspiration or just kind of admiring?
Yeah, the brand that really started kind of everything for me was Fugazi.
Yeah.
That brand. And they just do such good shit. Like, I see you nodding your head over there. I bought a pair of their sneakers. I think it's one dude, Trevor. I bought a pair of his sneakers during quarantine for $500, which was a bootleg sneaker. And the quality was out of this fucking world. Like, better than any Nike, better than whatever else. And he sold them for, I think, $180 at the time, and I paid $5 for them later on. But that brand was really the brand that I kind of tried to model myself after, I guess. I don't know if I'd say model myself after, but someone that I just respect and want to be like, I guess, because he did it on his own. He makes really good designs, holds himself to a really high quality standard, and is creative on top of all that. So, like, that's how I want to be, So, I don't know if I'd say I take, like, his business model or I take inspiration from it, but I definitely want to be that guy, if that makes sense. Like, I want to be similar to him.
What goes into like that quality, like on the supplier level? Have you had to make trips to places that you get your shoes made, or just like sending samples back and forth and like revisions and all sorts of different things?
Yeah,
like,
the samples are the key part, and also just cost. If you tell the manufacturer we want the best quality materials, they'll go out and find it. And it also just comes down to who your manufacturer is. Like, some people are just better than others. Like, some people just have better machines or better knowledge, whatever it is. When we first started Kizzo, we got samples from 3 different manufacturers. 2 of them were shit. Like, they looked like they were made by kindergartners. And then one of them was like, oh, this looks like an actual sneaker that I'd buy. And we went with that one, obviously. It comes down to, 1, is your manufacturer good enough? And 2, paying for the right materials and knowing what the right materials are. So those are the key things.
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Jake.
I think that's
That about it?
We always kind of hit a wall. I don't know. He kind of, when it's over. So.
Yeah, I know how you feel. I get it.
Thanks
unless you have anything to add, but
No, I don't think so.
Spit some game.
Kizzo 2024.
Hell
buy
yeah.
everything.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, anytime.
Of course.
For sure. Thank you.